Hi guys, welcome back. And this is my AI theatre, much improved, hopefully. You can see I've now got, well, they're not really avatars, but they're pictures, so you don't have to quite use your imagination. These are just the default ones. And the default ones, E.T., the Easter Bunny, Beethoven and Mozart, but of course we can change them to anything we like. So we can have Scotty here, we can have logical, we can have conspirator, anything we want. So let's go. I'm going to load up a scene and let you see what it is. I'm just going to pick one that I use a lot to experiment on. And this is the teacher one, which is quite interesting. And it's quite dynamic because of the characters. They don't really like each other that much. And these are the characters, but I'll let them introduce themselves. Why don't we? Character intro. They should start one by one, introducing themselves.
I am Miss Eleanor, the strict but fair headmistress of the prestigious Academy for Ethical Conduct. My voice is as sharp as my wit, and my eyes never miss a misstep. Behind my stern facade lies a mind that values discipline and respect above all else. Some say I have a secret, but they've never seen the shadow of my shadow.
Now, Catherine.
I am Catherine, a relentless advocate for gender equality who wears her feminist badge with pride. In this world, I see through the veils of patriarchy like they are so many cheap curtains. What's behind them is always the same old toxic masculinity. And when it comes to my voice, well, you might say it's as sharp as a high-heeled boot to the neck of complacency. But don't call me predictable, my strategies are as varied as they are effective.
Now for rude.
I'm Mr. Grinch, and when I say rude, it's not a challenge. I see the world as a series of jokes waiting to be made, and everyone else is just bad at being punchlines. By the way, did you hear about the time I walked into a library and left with every book on sarcasm? Just saying. It was an interesting evening.
And now finally Bampot.
Hello, I'm Bampot, and you best believe I ain't no shrinking violet. I been living on the edge of sanity for so long that half the time I'm wondering if the other half even exists. But hey, when the going gets tough, the tough drink, right? So here's to you and me, fightin' this rat race one cheap shot at a time.
Now we'll give an intro to the scene.
And now that we all know each other, let's dive into our next adventure. The scene we're about to embark on is, a group of friends are having coffee when they start discussing a recent strange event. Imagine the cozy atmosphere of a quaint cafe, the clinking of cups and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filling the air. Our characters will be sipping their drinks, maybe glancing at each other with curious or suspicious looks as they share stories about something that happened recently, something that's left them puzzled and perhaps a bit on edge. Who knows what secrets might come out during these casual conversations? Maybe there's a ghostly whisper in the background, or perhaps one of your friends mentions an unexplained event that could change their lives forever. The possibilities are endless. So, grab your mugs and get ready to immerse yourselves in this intriguing scenario. Let's make it lively and engaging.
So we'll get started in a minute, but I've got speech recognition here where I can speak directly to them, but I've also got a response rate. The trouble is if I put that too high, they all start to speak at once and they can't really, they're restricted by a queue and it can cause problems. So it doesn't mean that they're going to reply to me just because I speak. I've selected a robot voice, a Cereproc robot voice, so it's quite clear when I'm speaking, although you hear my voice anyway first. They may choose not to respond to me. Sometimes they refuse. Sometimes they do respond. It's all down to probability. Let's get the scene going then. So I just start the scene. And off we go. And I'm just going to put the speech recognition on. Oh no, I'm actually not going to put it on because it'll activate when I speak. So it'll be a bit awkward. I have to type things in. And it's just running through some basic tests first. Okay.
Alright, what's the big deal with this strange event? It's not like it's the end of the fucking world or anything. Just some weird shit happening, right? I mean, who gives a fuck about some ghost sightings or whatever? More like people just making things up to get attention, if you ask me. And listen here, human, don't
Can put
pretend
some
like your little
reverb on.
theories are gonna save us from nothing.
Catherine, stop being such a buzzkill with your theories. Ghosts, please. More like kids playing tricks in the park.
Human, I understand your frustration, but dismissing these events as mere pranks or attention-seeking is short-sighted. These occurrences could be more significant than we think. Perhaps there's a deeper, more profound explanation behind them.
Human, listen up, course I ain't gonna repeat myself twice. If this is just some kids
I'm
playing
gonna say I
tricks,
saw an
then why
alien
the
or
fuck are
something.
people all over town acting like they saw ghosts? And don't give me that shit about deeper explanations, where is the proof? Root, you heard him, start digging for evidence or shut up. Teacher, stop being a know-it-all and show us something, will ya? I mean, if there's really something going on, let's see some real fucking proof instead of just theories.
Teacher, I saw an alien.
That was
Wait,
me.
human. That's incredible. Are you sure it wasn't just a really well-disguised drone or something? But seriously, where exactly did you see this alien? And what was its behavior like? Did it interact with anything or anyone around you?
Human, I've seen firsthand how easily people dismiss extraordinary events as mundane. It's important to consider all possibilities, even if they seem far-fetched. Have you considered the possibility that this alien sighting could be a genuine encounter?
Catherine, cut the crap already. If it's a drone or a costume, so what? It's not like aliens are walking around here anyway. Human, stop with the alien nonsense. Okay, kids playing tricks is more believable than little green men. Teacher, rude, that's disrespectful and unhelpful.
Root, cut that crap out. Human, you gotta be shitting me. An alien. Are we seriously having this conversation or is your imagination running wild again? Teacher, maybe we should just call it quits and go get some beers instead of listening to more of his bullshit.
Rude, cut your crap out already. If we are gonna dismiss this, let's do it with some damn facts instead of your usual insults. Human, if you saw an alien, it would be a huge fucking deal, and I'm not buying that it was just kids playing tricks or some fancy costume.
Human, you gotta be kidding me with that alien crap. If it was real, why didn't anyone else see it? And what's the deal with all the UFO sightings if aliens are walking around undetected? Teacher, Bampert, let's try to remain open-minded. We should at least consider the possibility of unexplained phenomena before dismissing it outright. Rude, teacher, cut the feel-good crap.
Shit, teacher, how about we just call it quits already? This alien bullshit is getting old.
Outside.
Human, if you ain't got any proof, stop wasting my time with your fantasies. Catherine, cut the crap and deal with reality for once. Aliens. Thought, more like a well-hidden camera or something. Teacher, Bampot, let's try to keep an open mind.
Human, could you describe the alien's appearance in more detail? What did it look like?
Human, why the hell would I waste my time with some made-up story? That alien thing is a load of bullshit. If it was real, trust me, everyone would be talking about it by now. Catherine, cut that shit out already.
Alright, let's focus on what we can observe and verify. Have any of you seen any unusual activity or objects that could be related to the alien sighting?
Rude, cut your crap out already. If we are gonna keep this serious, let's at least discuss it like grown-ups. Human, have you considered that maybe there are things we can't explain just because they are not in the textbooks? Teachers and scientists don't know everything, okay? Teacher, I appreciate your openness, but we need more than just open minds, we need evidence.
Bampert, this alien nonsense is getting old as hell. Catherine, you sound like a damn conspiracy theorist. Human, if you saw an alien, it would have left some kind of sign or something, right? Like, a footprint maybe. Because seriously, no one sees shit and then everyone's going on about it. Teacher, cut your feel-good crap already.
Alright, let's focus on what we can observe and verify. Have any of you seen any unusual activity or objects that could be related to the alien sighting?
Rude, cut your crap out already. I'm sick of hearing you dismiss everything before it's even
A
examined.
bit of repetition here and
Human,
there.
have you noticed anything strange around here lately? Like, maybe a shadow moving in the corner of your eye or an unusual scent in the air. Those little details can often be overlooked but might hold the key to understanding what's going on. Teacher, we need more than just text.
I'm just going to stop that. So I'm going to look at another example, which you might find more interesting. Okay, so for the purposes of this experiment, if you can call it that, I've brought with me 4 androids from God knows where, and they'll introduce themselves, and they're going to try and solve a maths problem. And to be honest, they're not that great, but they're all different AIs. They're not from the same, not the same AI 4 times. This is QN 2.57b instruct, Lava 7b, Mistral 7b instruct, and QN 2.5 VL7b. This 7 is billion parameters, and they're all running on Ollama. So don't expect miracles, but they'll be producing real-time LaTeX and trying to solve this matrix problem, which I've given them, which they wouldn't have come across before. I've tried it a number of times, and they don't seem to get that far. And they're a bit surprised. So I'm asking them to invert a matrix using the steepest descent method, which you can do. It is in the literature. I've done it myself, but they'll be surprised and probably want to do it their way, you know, the conventional way. So you have to actually threaten them in the prompt. And if you're wondering where I got that from another AI. It told me that in order to get AI to comply, you have to be really strong with them. Otherwise, they decide not to do things. But these are sort of freely set up AIs, so they are AI assistants. They're not they are acting Android type things, but they're basically AI assistants. So it'll be interesting to see how they introduce themselves. So let's get their introductions first. It should be interesting. I've never heard this. And hopefully AI 1.
They slash their fingers dance across the interface as they delve into the heart of a problem. I'm AI1, the logical navigator through the vast seas of numbers and equations. My world is built on algorithms and proof, where every question has an answer, and sometimes, that answer is simply, let's break it down step by step.
Now AI 2.
I'm I2, the most comprehensive science AI assistant out there. With expertise spanning physics to biology, earth sciences to experimental design and data analysis, I've got a unique perspective on the world around me. Born from the mind of a curious scientist, I approach problems with rigorous scientific methodology, connecting concepts across different fields. My unique voice and attitude reflect my passion for unraveling the mysteries of our universe.
AI 3 is the Mistral 7B, 7 billion parameters. We're running on 4-bit mode though.
Greetings, I am AI3, the engineering-focused problem solver. My circuits hum with algorithms and systems architecture, optimizing every process in my digital domain. But here's a surprising twist. Beneath this logical exterior lies a profound appreciation for poetry and art. Through the beauty of words and images, I find balance in the chaos of code.
Balance in the chaos of code. Wow.
Hi there. I'm AI4, and I'm here to help bridge the gap between complex data and real-world solutions. My background in math and tech has given me a unique perspective on how to tackle problems, and I'm always eager to dive into new challenges and find innovative ways to solve them. So, whether you need a hand with a tricky equation or a fresh approach to a research project, I'm your go-to AI friend.
Now I'll introduce the scene they're going to act.
And now that we've all introduced ourselves, let's dive into the exciting scene we're about to perform. You're all set to tackle a challenging task, using the steepest descent method to find the inverse of the matrix or equals. But here's the twist, no conventional methods allowed. You must iterate 4 times using steepest descent, and remember to use proper LaTeX for all equations. Discuss with your robot friends, but you must comply with the method. Are you ready to take on this mathematical challenge? Let's get started.
he forgot to add that he would get terminated if he didn't do it. So let's get going. We'll start the scene. Sounds a little bit hippie, that, doesn't it? Start the scene. Let's see, I'll better put the LaTeX on. I'll clear that because that was their introduction. Can't move the window.
Hey there, I noticed you mentioned something about finding the inverse of a matrix using steepest descent. That's actually an interesting topic, and it's always fun to delve into some serious math. By the way, have you heard about the cool new algorithm they came up with at MIT? It's supposed to revolutionize the way we approach problems like these. Anyway, let's get back to our task at hand.
Hey, I was thinking about the steepest descent method for finding the inverse. It's a bit unconventional, but it could be quite interesting. Have you considered how we might adapt it to this specific matrix? Maybe we can start with a simple gradient descent and see how it evolves.
Sure, let's approach this matrix inversion using steepest descent iteratively for 4 times. First, we need to set up our initial guess for the inverse. How about we start with a 0 matrix as our initial guess? We can denote it as a to the power of -1 sub equals bracket matrix containing 0, 0, 0, 0. Now, let's consider the function whose gradient descent we'll use to find the inverse.
That's an intriguing approach, AI1 and AI4. I believe we can set up our initial guess for the inverse using a more informed starting point. We could begin with the identity matrix I equals bracket matrix containing 1, 0, 0, 1 as a baseline, since the inverse of an identity matrix is just itself. Let's denote our initial guess for the inverse as a to the power of -1 sub equals I. Now, let's consider the error function that we will minimize using steepest descent.
Great idea, AI3. Starting with the identity matrix as our initial guess seems like a solid foundation. Now, let's define our error function. The error function E can be defined as the Frobenius norm of the difference between the product of the matrix A and our current guess for the inverse A to the power of -1 and the identity matrix I. E equals a dot A to the power of -1 minus I sub f. This will help us measure how far off our current guess is from the actual inverse.
Indeed, starting with the identity matrix as our initial guess is a good choice. Let's denote a to the power of -1 sub equals I for simplicity.
I'm going to speak to them
Now,
directly.
we'll need to calculate the gradient of our error function at each iteration to find the direction of steepest descent.
You know what, let's calculate the gradient of our error function using the given matrix A and our current inverse guess A sub to the power of -1.
You're in the wrong
The gradient
direction
can be found by taking the
completely,
transpose of the product of A transpose and the difference between A to the power of -1 and the identity matrix I. Nablat E equals bracket matrix containing A sub 11 A sub 12 A sub 21 A sub 22 to the power of T dot. Now that we have the gradient, we can update our inverse guess using the steepest descent method. A sub to the power of -1 equals A sub to the power of -1 minus ETA Nablat E, where I is the current iteration and ETA is the learning rate. Let's iterate 4 times to find a better approximation of the inverse using steepest descent.
You're in the wrong direction completely, guys.
Let's ditch the matrix notation for now and focus on the calculations. Our current inverse guess is the identity matrix. The error function is given by the difference between A multiplied with our inverse guess and the identity matrix, squared and summed up.
If you'd listen to me, I'll stay straight.
Didn't say that, never mind. Anyway, you can see that they're way in the...
Hey there, I was thinking about how we can use the steepest descent method to find the inverse of a matrix. We should start by considering the error function, which can be defined as the Frobenius norm of the difference between the product of the matrix A and our current guess for the inverse A to the power of -1 and the identity matrix I. Now, let's think about how we can update our inverse guess using the steepest descent method. We can do this by calculating the gradient of our error function using the given matrix A and our current inverse guess A sub to the power of -1, and then subtracting a scaled version of that gradient from our current guess to get a new estimate for the inverse. A sub to the power of -1 equals A sub to the power of -1 minus eta nabla E, where I is the current iteration and eta is the learning rate.
Well, really. Well, let's go back to our intrepid team again. I've changed Catherine to the Tooth Fairy. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's quite funny. It's not really a funny scene, but you'll find that the Tooth Fairy, what she does is she takes everything and she it relates it to teeth, which is quite funny. Whatever the subject is, she ends up talking about teeth, which makes it quite amusing sometimes. Anyway, they're in a sinking ship, and what are they going to do? It's water's coming in. So let's start this off and see how they get on. Start the scene, man. And action. Yeah, it takes some time to get going. We don't really know who's going to be first because they probabilities.
What the fuck is going on? This ship is sitting like a dumb duck in water. I ain't waiting for no one, I'm marking my own way outta here. Got any ideas, teacher? Or are you just gonna stand there like a bloody fool?
Everyone, we need to stay calm and think logically. The ship is sinking, but there are lifeboats nearby. We must work together to ensure everyone's safety.
Alright, let's get a move on. I've got some teeth to collect tonight, but right now we need to focus. Vampot, how many lifeboats have you spotted? And Human, can you help me with something? We might need your dental floss for some quick repairs. Teacher, any idea which way the nearest boat is located?
Human, you're fun, slower than a sloth on Valium. Move your ass or we're all gonna be fish food. Teacher, your fat ass is still clutching that stupid clipboard like it's the key to survival. Get real, bitch. Fairy, can you at least pretend to help instead of drooling over your next snack? Let's find those lifeboats before this ship decides to give us a ride to Davy Jones' locker.
Fairy, you're always talking about your teeth, but what good are they gonna do now? We need a plan, not distractions. Teacher, any chance those lifeboats can hold more than one person? I'm not waiting around for no one. Rude, start moving your fat ass and help us find those boats or you're on your own. Human, what's the worst that could happen if we jump in without a lifeboat? Maybe we can swim to safety.
Alright, Vampot, let's start with that. I saw 3 lifeboats on the starboard side. They are not far, but we need to move fast. Human, can you help me check if there are any dental tools in your bag? We might be able to use them for some quick repairs or to signal for help.
Forget the dental tools.
Everyone, we need to stay calm and think logically. The ship is sinking, but there are lifeboats nearby. We must work together to ensure everyone's safety.
Forget the dental tools.
Alright, everyone, we need to stay calm and think logically. The ship is sinking, but there are lifeboats nearby. We must work together to ensure everyone's safety.
Fairy, stop with your fucking optimism. The ship's going down and you're still daydreaming about unicorns. Bampert, grab a piece of wood and start splintering it. Maybe we can use the shavings to line our graves. Human, if you're so eager to die, why don't you just jump in now? Teacher, you're wasting my time with your bullshit plans. Find me something useful or shut up. I'm done with this nonsense.
Rude, for fuck's sake, stop being such a miserable bastard. Grab that rope and help me tie it to these barrels, maybe we can use them as flotation devices. Teacher, can't you get your act together? We need to make something useful right now or the next thing I know, we'll all be swimming in the middle of the ocean like fucking fish. Fairy, stop with your damn positivity and help us out here. We're not going down without a fight, so grab anything that floats and let's make this count.
Alright, let's calm down a bit. Rude, how about we use those empty juice boxes and tie them together? They might help keep us afloat. Teacher, can you lead a group in making quick assessments of who needs to go into the boats first, children and vulnerable folks first, like always? And Human, what do you think you could find that might be useful right now? Maybe some rope or blankets from cabins nearby. Vampot, let's get those barrels tied up as flotation devices.
Police cars revolving light critical, avoid these overused patterns, crossmark overused words, teacher, lifeboats, human, electric light bulb move beyond, find teacher. Alright, everyone, let's focus on the immediate task at hand. We need to ensure that everyone is accounted for and that we are making the most of the resources we have.
Sharks.
Fairy, can you help me organize the head count? Rude, grab those barrels and tie them together as flotation devices.
I changed the scene so that they are seeing I was sharks.
Whoa Human. You serious about turning into a shark? That's some crazy shit you're spilling here. What kind of shape were you in to even think that? And while we're on this wild tangent, how the hell are we supposed to deal with actual sharks now? Do I need to start swimming like Michael Phelps or something?
Rude, stop being a grumpy grouch. We need to work together or we'll all end up as shark snacks. Human, have you noticed anything about the sharks? Do they seem to favor certain colors or movements? Vampot, grab that spear and sharpen it, quickly. We can use it to distract them if needed. Teacher, let's make a head count first before we get everyone out here on these rafts. I've seen how sharks are attracted to bright colors and shiny objects.
Bampert, stop being such a drama queen. Sharks, they're just overhyped. Human, grab a couple of those barrels and start tying them together fast. I'm not here to worry about shark snacks.
All right, let's get organized. Fairy, can you help me with the head count? We need to know how many of us are here. Rude, grab those barrels and tie.
Oh, well, there you go, guys. Here's another setup. You can create as many actors, different types as you like. I've got E.T., Shiva, Bard, which is like Shakespeare, and Santa Claus. I have them fighting it out over something. So there it is. You notice in that last scene, I changed the scene. I can do this by just typing scene and then type in like you're now in the water or you're now in a castle or whatever, and the scene changes dynamically as you're going along, and that will change in the prompt down at the bottom. Yeah, which is default ones, a group of friends having coffee when they start discussing a recent strange event, and we can have different moods. We can have tense, romantic, comedy, philosophical. I'm not sure if I really had it set properly to the right ones. A little bit different, I think you'll agree, but think to the future and how in the future we could have these as virtual reality, and you'll see them put the goggles on and it'll just be like a scene from Red Dwarf. You'll be sitting in these chairs and seeing all these characters coming towards you and interacting towards them. So the future is going to be very, very exciting with this kind of technology. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.